Hey guys, welcome to another video. Thanks for joining today. Today I want to do a video on my initial thoughts on the Mount to Coast R1 running shoe. Mount to Coast is a fairly new company. I think they introduced their first shoes in March of this year. They market their shoes as being ultra marathon shoes. Their first models are all for the road, so road ultras. They have three models. They have the S1, which is their standard neutral running shoe for the road. It's a training shoe. They also have the P1, which is their stability shoe, and they have the R1, which is their race shoe. I ended up getting the race shoe. I met with Mount to Coast back at TRE in November. I listened to their presentation and I was very intrigued by some of the technology they're using. I got to talk to Yeti, who's their product designer. He is apparently quite a pioneer in doing nitrogen injection into different shoes. He's worked for different shoe companies over the years. But they came out with these shoes, and I think they have some interesting features. First of all, I'll start with the upper. It's a double jacquard mesh upper, which I think will breathe really well. It has kind of a standard lace on top, but this has a dual lacing system. So there's separate lacing for the top part of your shoe and then the separate bungee style one that does the bottom part of the shoe. And once you adjust it, it has a little loop that locks it to the bottom lace so it's not flopping around on you. So really pretty ingenious. I like the idea of this shoe comes with a fairly wide forefoot, but if you don't like the wide forefoot, you can tighten this down and make it much tighter to fit you well. And I did find that I thought the shoe wrapped and fit me really well. I did like the fit quite a bit. It has the regular double lace holes for the laces to go through and the top part of the tongue to hold it in place. And then, like I said, you've got the loop to keep the bottom part from flopping around. It's fairly padded around the heel collar, which you would think if you're trying to keep the weight down, you might cut down on that. And it's got a fairly padded tongue, though not super thick. I'm sure that adds a little bit to the weight to the shoe, but I guess the fact that they're marking this as an ultra marathon shoe, you want it to be comfortable for the long haul. And putting on the shoe, I found that it locked down really well. It fits true to size for me. I wear a men's size 11.5 in most shoes, and I think the 11.5 fits me really well. I think this is going to be very comfortable. The heel collar, and it is a pretty firm heel collar, but it stays in place. I mean, it's not going to move around on you. It doesn't, and it's just very comfortable. When you go down the shoe, the midsole is what they call light cell, but it is made out of a PEBA blend, and then they've nitrogen injected it, which that there's no carbon fiber plate in it, but with that type of foam, you would think it would be extremely bouncy. I found it to be very soft feeling, and it definitely had some energy return, but I think it's been tuned in such a way that it's not as bouncy as some of the high-end performance race shoes, which I'm not sure you really need if you're running real long ultra marathons, because you're really not going to be running at a really top speed in an ultra marathon. But there is enough bounciness there that you can definitely pick up the pace. The shoes are very lightweight. It's probably owing to that foam and then the choice of the jacquard upper. They come in at 8.5 ounces in a men's size 9, which I find really pretty lightweight. They come in some very simple colorways. The two colors they're coming in now is a all white with this logo being black, and then what we got at the running store that I ended up getting is the black with the silver stripe. So very nice simple colorways. I think they're going to work really well. When you go to the other side of the shoe, it just has very simply their logo and says Mount to Coast. Anyway, I think the upper is really nailed it. It locks in really well. You don't really expect that with a brand new shoe with their first model, but I am impressed with their beginning for sure. As far as the run goes, like I said, the foam being that nitrogen injected PIBA, it just feels really soft, but with enough energy return to keep you going, let you pick up the pace. I think they would just be very comfortable all day long. The outsole is kind of interesting. They're both their S1 and their P1. The stability shoe and the everyday shoe have a rubber outsole to keep them very durable and lasting. This has a CPU outsole, which shouldn't be quite as durable, but my 9 miles of wear so far, I don't see any wear. And they had a pair there that they said was used by a ultra marathoner that did a race from the top of Scotland to the bottom of England. Did 854 miles in 17 days, and the shoes still looked really good. They were dirty, but they were still actually in very good condition, and he just used one pair of shoes the whole time. So very impressive. They're touting that they think the majority of people will get 600 to 800 miles out of their shoes. If that's true, it's a really good deal. The price comes in at $160, which I think in today's price of running shoes, especially with a PIBA, nitrogen-infused PIBA midsole, I think is a pretty good price. It has I didn't talk about this on the outsole, it has this insert in here. I don't remember exactly what they call that, but it's basically a stability measure to give you torsional stability, and I think that felt good too on the run. It's these aren't considered a stability shoe; they're still considered neutral, but it does give it some stability, which I think is nice. Anyway, I ran today out in the rain. Well, it wasn't raining when I took off. It had poured before. So I started out, I ran, it was pouring when I was going to run, so I did some on the treadmill. I ran a mile, and then I walked a little over 3 miles. And then once the rain kind of held up, I took off and ran outside. I did about 5 miles. The ground was still really wet, so I ran through lots of wetness. I ran through some puddles. I splashed some water in here, and it did dry very quickly, which does make me think that these are pretty breathable uppers. I also was impressed. There was a lot of places where I cross over roads, and there's big white stripes across it for crossing guards, for school zones, and real often a lot of shoes will slip on those stripes when they're wet. I didn't have any problem at all. So I actually think the grip for a road shoe is very good on these shoes. Anyway, I was impressed so far. I hope you found it interesting. If you liked the video, please consider hitting the thumbs up, the like button. If you're interested in any more of my content, including my follow-up on this shoe, please consider subscribing to my channel. Other than that, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and keep moving.